There is magnificent Hatley Castle. It's one of the South Island's most prominent landmarks, as you know, and it's a building that through time has reinvented itself a number of times. It was originally built as a family home, of course, and then it kind of evolved into being a military college, and now it is the magnificent Royal Roads University campus here in the West Shore of the South Island area. We're here today for some TED Talks that are going on all about reinvention, all about transformation, all about change. The South Island Prosperity Project is supporting this event because change is in the wind all the time in our economy, because that's how economy grows. It evolves, it reinvents itself. And the strength of reinvention is what the speakers are talking about today. What's transformed in this event since it started a few hours ago? What transformation have you sensed throughout the process of the day?
You know, I think when people first showed up, they didn't really know what to expect, what kind of energy was going to be here, and that's really what we tried to do when people first, when we saw this event coming together. We said, oh, how can we really rile them up? How can we really get people excited? So as they came upstairs and we rallied them up, we released them into the room, the energy just peaked, and it has been throughout the whole event. It's been magical to see everybody come together and support our speakers, and their ideas were spreading.
If you were one of the people on stage today, what would you talk about?
I would talk about probably what I was mentioning earlier, which is the qualities of leadership that we need in a modern world to release talent.
So if you could either impose or accelerate some transformation within this municipality and this community that we live in Greater Victoria, what would that be?
I think it's important that we continue to have a community that is able to communicate with one another. So I really appreciated from the talk about the housing that's more interactive, that's open and friendly. I think that's something that we could have in Victoria in order to create a more enjoyable and happy society.
If you could accelerate or support anything in transition right now to get it closer to completion, an issue or an event or whatever, what would it be?
Probably the TRC. Yeah, the Truth and Reconciliation. All the recommendations that's been put out. So anything related to that, I think I would definitely want to support.
Thank you. Do you feel transformed by anything yet?
Yes. So I saw the speech of Taylor, and it really touched me because he was so vulnerable, and I think it's so important to be that and just show yourself. And it was so nice watching him kind of heal on stage, and I just felt like I just wanted to go up there and give him a hug, because it was so, it was just great to see, and it takes a lot of courage to do that. So it really inspired me already. It was great.
We're always transforming because healthy communities change all the time. What sort of transformation do you sense or wish for this area?
I think it's important for Southern Vancouver Island, Vancouver as a general, Vancouver Island, BC, to think about how we can do things better. We're not talking about radical reinvention here. We're talking about looking at what we're doing now, making small, tangible steps, tangible actions, just to do things better from a social perspective, from an environmental perspective. I think if we all kind of chip in collectively, we'd be surprised at the progress we can make as a society.
Change is kind of a constant. It happens all the time. It's the one thing in the world that stays the same, right?
True. Absolutely.
Why do people struggle with it, do you think?
I think there's a tendency to imagine the worst outcome. And in many cases that's warranted, because a lot of development that happens actually is a big negative, at least initially, for the people that live around there. It can change the character of the neighborhood. It can generally take a place that was affordable, and when it's replaced, it's now the rents are a lot higher. And that's not because capitalists are evil necessarily. It's just because it costs a lot of money to build a new building, and the rents have to help recoup that investment. But people do see that those things create, lead to a loss of character of the neighborhood, and so change seems to come with a sense of loss.
So yours is a very cool project. You're working out of the Songhees Wellness Center, and you're transforming a little bit, aren't you? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we're an Indigenous technology social enterprise, and we're based out of the Songhees Wellness Center. We're partnering with Songhees and South Island Prosperity, among others, to create the Indigenous Innovation Center, which is really exciting.
And you teach in New York State?
I do.
So what message will you take back to them from what you've learned here?
Oh, I think more
It's about being conscious of how you see the world around you and taking a risk. Yeah.
If you were one of the people up there speaking today, what would you talk about?
I'd probably try to tie in my archaeological background and my historical background. So I'd probably talk about the reinvention of different empires and maybe how my own reinvention might connect to that. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So as things transform around us all the time, I mean, change is constant, it happens everywhere. Let you kind of reevaluate some of the transformations in your own life. So if you were up there speaking, what would you talk about?
Wow, put me on the spot.
Exactly.
Actually, I just was talking to somebody here a second ago that I hadn't met. I was sharing the table with her, and she's here doing an MBA, and she's kind of reinventing herself. And I said, well, you know what, I've reinvented myself a few times as well over the years, from being a diesel mechanic back in another lifetime ages ago to now owning a business that's been here for 8 years, but then starting new businesses, so conferences. So I'm just always trying to come up with new ideas and do things that put me out of my comfort zone a little bit, but brings the community together a little bit. And I've met a few people here that would like to get together as part of some of the events that I do. So always looking at new ideas.
A lot of inspiring words and thoughts happened here today at Royal Roads University at this TED Talk event. Change is constant, of course, and reinvention can be a little bit frightening for some people, but the reinvention has an amazing outcome when it results in the success that you had hoped for. If you want to find out more about us at the South Island Prosperity Project, you can do that at our website. So good luck with your own reinvention.